Hello and welcome. This is a bonus stream, not my usual day, not my usual time for doing a stream, but Art lives in the land down under, and my usual time is way too early for him. So we're doing this special time to release this video that Art and I made together. So
Hi guys. I could potentially do it earlier. The thing is, like, where my studio is right next door to mine and my wife's bedroom. So if I'm up at 6:30 or whatever, having a chat with you, it's going to wake her up, and it's Sunday morning here. So I just thought, a little bit later would be better.
So how is the future?
The future is not too bad at the moment. We've got a nice sunny day here, and everything's pretty fine in Australia.
Okay.
We don't have, we were just talking about it backstage, but we don't have Donald Trump running our country. So that's
that's a big plus.
It's a bit of a plus. So yeah, it's good. How's the past?
It's a little scary here. It's a little scary here.
I can imagine. Yeah.
We're hoping for some changes. Well,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about the video. The video is something that I got the idea for because I went to a funeral at a church, and they did this music video that talked about how the deceased is in a better place. And so I wanted to make something that was along the same lines, but from a secular perspective. And so I made a video called I'm Not in a Better Place. And I had the tune in my head, but I did not write it down. And I let Art know what I wanted. And Art is absolutely amazing because he asked me to sing what I had in my head, and I did. And Art took that and fixed the pitch, fixed the rhythm, and he sang. Okay, this was intended to be a duet. And Art sang the male part, and he's got me singing the female part, and he just used my own voice to do it, and it turned out fantastic. And here it is.
I'm not in a better place, but that's okay. I'm not here, I've left this life, but I'm not gone entirely. I'm not in a better place, but that's okay. I love my life, I live my life, I don't need a better place. This one here was good enough for me. I live on inside your heart and in your memories. If I gave you this, then that's enough. My life here is complete. I'm not in a better place, but that's okay. I'm not in a better place, but you're gonna be okay. You loved your life, you lived your life, we didn't need a better place. This one here was good enough for us. Now's your time to live your life, to grow, to learn, to love. If I gave you this, then that's enough. My life here is complete. You're not in a better place, but that's okay. I'm not in a better place, but you're gonna be okay. You're not in a better place.
Okay, that's it. I made that for my own funeral, and I wrote it really for my son because my son and I are very close, and he's always telling me, "Don't die, mom. Don't die, mom." And there is a gender swap there because everything that the male voice is singing is really supposed to be my perspective, and everything that I'm singing is supposed to be my son's perspective. Um, and the whole point of the video was to let him know that even if I'm gone, that he's gonna be okay. And all of the video, with the exception of the very final piece and one photograph, is all video that I just took from YouTube, that I downloaded from YouTube. But it all is very significant to me personally. Um, it had the couple walking along the beach. That's something my husband and I would do, and then it morphed into a picture of my husband alone at the river. Um, the riding bikes. I used to ride bikes with my son to school. When my son was in kindergarten, I rode with him on the back of my bike. But by the end of the year, he was riding his own bike, and it wasn't a trailer bike like in the video, but that's the age that he was. And we rode bikes back and forth to school. It was a 3-mile bike trip. That was a rough trip for him at that age, but he made it, and so that was significant. My husband and I did a lot of scuba diving, and the section that was scuba diving, that was taken in Cozumel, a place that my husband and I have gone scuba diving. There was that mother and daughter making chocolate chip cookies. That's something I did with my kids a lot. Um, and toward the end, that was really significant, is that you see a preschool teacher and then a pediatrician and then a Domino's delivery man. My oldest child is a preschool teacher. My middle child is a pediatrician, and my youngest child is a Domino's delivery driver. And so you hear me giving my message to each of them that I've lived my life, and now I've if I've given you enough to go on, then my life is complete. I've done everything I need to do. And then the very end is, that is footage that I shot right here at home. It's my husband and Robin walking away from me and then turning around and waving goodbye. So I
Yeah.
made this for my own funeral. But I could adapt this for someone else's. If anybody else is, I plan to make this video free, for anyone who might want to use it for a funeral. And if someone wants me to adapt the video to someone else personally, I'd be willing to do that for them.
Yeah, it turned out really nice.
Mhm.
Gigi, I thought you did a great job of that, and I know we spoke about. I suggested to you a little while back, maybe try not to use generic photos and things like that as much as possible. Use your personal stuff,
Mhm.
which you took on board, but then also with you describing the significance of all those different things,
Mhm.
that makes it personal. So that's a whole
Mhm.
different thing.
Mhm.
If you take photos and video and it's just random stuff, I'll stick that in there. Oh, that looks nice. They're walking along the beach there. We'll do that, you know.
Mhm.
It loses a bit of something from me. So I think because it is such a personal song and those lyrics are so meaningful, that the video should be personal too. But
Mhm.
you turned it into that. You made it into that anyway. So yeah, great job. You're the video producer. So nice work there. Yeah, look, as far as the song goes, I mean, yeah, that was basically you that came up with that. So you had you sang it without any instruments behind you when you first sent that to me as just an idea.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you had all the melodies and the phrasings were basically there. You did
Mhm.
drifts, your keys changed a bit with the vocal that you sent me, drifted,
Mhm.
but we made that work, and
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
became the changes in the song. Um, and it's probably also worth remembering that Madam Who was involved in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
She came back with an arrangement which also set us on a certain direction with that song.
Mm-hmm.
And if you recall, that version was a bit more of a kind of almost
It
a
was a
pop,
more upbeat version.
yeah, which is along the lines with who Madam Who is as an artist, and she's a great
Mm-hmm.
humanist artist. But it's more along the lines of, I suppose, was very alternative pop. Yeah, she's got her own style, but essentially, I would say it revolves around pop music. So that version was more along those lines. But it's still a lot of the ideas that she came up with that version stayed in the later version.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, we did do something similar to this, didn't we? We did a live stream and presented that version to the public as well a little while back.
Yep.
And I remember you saying, look, in all honesty, it's not quite what I had in mind, but you liked it, but it wasn't quite what you had in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So then you came back to me with, okay, how can we take a different approach? And then we just threw ideas around again
Mm-hmm.
and came up with the most recent version. So and it does fit. Admittedly, it is definitely more along the right sort of mood for what the song is about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a collaborative effort, really. Original song by yourself, and then arranged and produced by myself and Madam Who, and it came up. I think it came up really nice.
I'm going to release the video to the public as, in the next couple of days. And then Art, you're going to release it on your channel as well,
Yeah.
correct? Mhm.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. My channel now, because I was Art Against Ignorance, hence my nickname Art, but you can see my actual name is there as well. I don't mind either one. It's fine. It was Art Against Ignorance, right? But I've now moved that channel to somewhere else, and now it's become Altruistic Artists for
Okay.
reasons that I can explain. But it's the same channel. So if anyone here was subscribed to that channel before, it is the same channel, but the name has changed.
So
And
why did you change the name?
I just felt as though it was time to sort of move on. I felt that altruistic artists, the word altruistic is a word that stuck in my head for such a long time, and I wanted to use that in a way, and it kind of described who I am as an artist more
Mhm.
than Art Against Ignorance, which is also relevant. But I thought
Mm.
altruistic artist is more the
Mhm.
direction that I want to go. Partly because I joined a humanist organization here in Australia, and I've always considered myself for quite a while. I've always thought, essentially, I'm a humanist. If there was a word
Mhm.
that could describe me,
Mhm.
it would be that. So I'd been thinking for a while, I want to join a group, and eventually I bit the bullet and joined Humanist Australia,
Mhm.
which I'm really enjoying. And I've become the creative director there. So I'm
Oh,
helping with,
cool.
yeah, with videos, creating videos. We've got a TikTok channel, blah, 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 different things. The YouTube channel, publishing stuff on that, YouTube shorts, and just making videos for charities and activist groups. So yeah, that's what I've kind of been involved in. And because I am a humanist and involved with a humanist group, the whole thing about humanism is it is for the most part, for me, the main thing is that it is altruistic. It's compassionate. It cares about equality. We care about all different communities. It's all inclusive, and
Mhm.
just generally just compassionate and considering it's empathetic. It's just got all of those things. Um, yes, that's true, and they are still very much like that. They're very peaceful people, and very much still with nature and more connected to everything. but yeah, so look, that was a reason. So that's a long-winded explanation, but essentially that's why art against ignorance. When I first came up with that, I was going through my full-on atheist
Mhm.
stage. All
Mhm.
right, so there was a bit more attitude. So that was the name that I had in mind, because it's like, please wake up, apply some reason and logic. I was watching a lot of Christopher Hitchens, and I was watching Dawkins and people like that too. And yes, we have our issues with Dawkins now with his position on certain things, but nonetheless, he was an influence in my life as far as atheism goes.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I had a bit more attitude back then. So art against ignorance was like, um, yeah, against, I suppose, the ignorance of just falling into religion and not really exploring and trying to understand that, and also ignorance in other areas, just being more aware, more
Mhm.
knowledgeable. So that was that idea. But look, altruistic artists definitely is more, honestly, it's more about compassion and empathy than anything else, because if we don't have that as humans, like, we might as well forget it. Honestly, we might as well
Yeah.
forget it, because if we don't care, then nothing else in our politics or anything else is going to work out, unless top of the list is caring about people and
Mhm.
minority communities and whatever. Like, we're all just people. We're all in this together. We need to have that attitude. Otherwise, forget it. Nothing else is going to work. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Now
that's
you were never religious, were you?
no, no, I
That's what
was
I thought.
never, yeah. I was never religious. Luckily for me, I was brought up in a family that was non-religious. We did the
Mhm.
standard things. You would have christenings in churches and weddings and do those sorts of things. But my parents were always a little bit kind of, even when people started going on about God and stuff like that, they kind of go, yeah, they would kind of accept it. And I think my mum even said on occasions, oh, yeah, kind of, yeah, maybe
And the
God's
moon
there.
is made of green cheese. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, 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 exactly, yeah. Yeah, there was no conviction there to religion at all. I just kind of went along with it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I was essentially, I mean, I went through my own spiritual journey.
Mhm.
Um, but I'd say that in probably even in my teens, I had already decided that, God's not for me. There's just something not right about this. If there is such a being up there, why do we have wars and things like that? It's so basic. Why do we have famine? If this all powerful being is up there, um, why do these things all exist? And why have wars started around religion? Like, isn't that
Mhm.
the opposite of what we're supposed to be about? So from pretty young age, I figured out that no, this is dodgy.
Mhm.
But I did continue on to go through a bit of a spiritual journey, and I guess I explored the more Eastern
Mm.
ideas of religion.
Mhm.
I got interested in a guy called Eckhart Tolle a while back. What was his The Power of Now, his book, and that did actually influence me. And there was some good things in there, but once again, also just the spiritual fantasy side of it
Mhm.
was there, and they talk around in circles.
Mhm.
Those spiritual people. So ultimately, all of that journey just led me towards just being an atheist,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, which has since then developed into describing myself as a humanist, because I like all the other aspects of humanism, and I
Mhm.
do like that. Being an atheist is just not believing in God, not thinking that any gods exist, and that it stops there.
Right,
Humanism
exactly.
Yeah, humanism takes that on board, but then expands it, and it's about compassion, and it's about all those other things, applying reason and logic. It's very ethical. It's just got, honestly, it just describes me, and the one word describes me probably better than anything else. So, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm happy to go along with that.
Well, I thank you so much for your help with me, in helping me make this video because I really did want this to exist.
Yeah, look. I love doing all this, and I'm still out there and doing stuff for the community and that. So anyone that's got any ideas and they want to make them a reality, like I'm there for that. So I really enjoyed it. I had fun, and
Good.
it's a sort of thing where I get to sit and muck around. I mean, what can be unhappy about sitting there with a guitar and listening to a song and thinking, okay, where can I take this? What can I do with that? It's just fun.
I reused in the video that I just released yesterday another piece that you did with me, which was, or I should say you did for me, Jesus drowned all of the children.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a funny one. But once again, these are all sort of your ideas, like you're coming up with the lyrics. So essentially all I'm doing is arranging
The
music
music,
around
yeah.
what you're presenting to me, Now, I do my own compositions. I write my own music, and I've got songs out there. But I love working on other people's ideas too. Yeah, so that was a good one. We've done a few bits and pieces together, haven't we?
I still think it would be so funny to teach that to kids at a VBS and then have them present that to the parents and watch their horrified reactions as their kids are singing, Jesus drowned all of the
Oh,
children.
geez, I can imagine some stunned parents if they heard their kids singing that, especially the extremely religious ones.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny. It was a good little tune, that one.
But I wouldn't want to do that to the kids.
No, that's right.
I wouldn't want to introduce that idea to a bunch of children.
No, that's right. That's right. You don't want to scare them. You want to let them find their own way as far as religion goes, and hopefully figure it out for themselves and get to the point where they can apply reason and say, yes, none of this is a real thing,
Yep, that's the correct lyric. And then the next one I have is red and yellow, black and white, they were evil in his sight. So Jesus drowned the little children of the world.
Some lovely lyrics there.
Yep. But it would be the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. You say all those things. Look, that was also the other reason for sort of expanding away from that, because I did write a lot of religious stuff, and it is or atheist stuff, and it is important, but I wanted to also expand away from that. So yeah, altruistic artists, it just allows me to write. There's other things that need to be written about from me, and I guess I'm swaying a little bit more kind of political at the moment, I guess, and writing things to do with society and that sort of thing, because I think those things need to be approached and spoken about, especially considering the current state of affairs.
One thing that I'm not sure about is, in some ways, I think we really need to take the temperature down in this country. Yeah, there is so much rage, but on the other hand, there is so much to be angry about that maybe we need to have all this rage. I don't know. I'm not that smart.
Look, no, well, it's not about not being smart. It is a very tough thing to answer, because who knows what the answer is, but we're all just humans, and you'll react in a way. And if you see wrongdoing out there, you're going to want to pipe up and say something about it,
Yeah, but we need, and Maya's right. We need to channel our rage for good. We need to refrain from the violence.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you don't want violence. You don't want the toxic thing that's out there online and responds the same way that, if trolls are attacking you, you don't want to respond back and do the same thing to them, because it's pointless. It doesn't go anywhere. It just goes around in circles.
That's cool.
Who was in a metal band?
Dark Side of Delight. Was in a metal band, was the lead vocalist, rhythm guitarist, shot all of their music videos, and I'm not sure this person's pronouns, so I'm just going to say they have two videos in particular that are very much criticizing of organized religion.
Oh, cool. So are they online? Do they have a YouTube channel or something?
I think so. Just a minute. I'm going to go over here and give Dark a wrench.
What is altruistic art? Exactly, in summary. I don't know. I mean, altruism. It's just a label name, so it's not necessary. It doesn't necessarily mean that everything revolves around being altruistic. Like some of the stuff that I'm writing is possibly even a little bit angry and aggressive, but ultimately, I guess doing what you do with good intentions. Doing it for the reason of that you want to see the world be a better place, not doing it out of selfish reasons for yourself because you want to sell a bunch of albums and make $1 million. So the music I write won't just be about such and such had a love affair and this happened and that happened. We went and got drunk on the weekend. I started taking drugs, but now I'm good. I guess there's all those sorts of stories. So altruistic, art and music for me specifically is really just about stuff that you think puts out a positive message to the public and can potentially be taken on board by people to improve lives and to help people find a better attitude and care a bit more. I guess that's probably the best way I can describe it. But ultimately, it is just a label name.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Dark is getting a link and is going to post it, and here it is. There is the link to Dark's video, our YouTube channel, where you can see his videos. Those sound really interesting. In fact, Dark, if you want to come on as a guest and talk about that, I think that would make a great show. Clement Green says, "Pay it forward." Yep, absolutely. I'm a big fan of Pay It Forward. I had a recent experience where I was at a conference and we went out to dinner and I picked up the check for the whole table. And two of the people at the table were people I had never even met before. And one of the women was so impressed. She says, "Yeah, I'm 45 years old. No one has ever picked up my dinner check before." And she was just so moved, and I told her, "Pay it forward." And she said, "I will. I absolutely will." Okay, Dark says, "I'd love to." Okay, Dark, my email address is in the description in the channel description. Send me an email and we'll work out a date for you to come in because I definitely have some openings in July that I'd like to fill, and that'd be great. Okay.
I'm just copying that link. I did just have it up there, but the music started playing in my headphones, so I got distracted there for a second. I'm just trying to find how. Mind you, that will be in the comments later, so I can go and I'll find it. I'll find it after.
Okay.
Because if I paste it into a browser now, the music's just going to start, and I don't know how to make that silent.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
I totally get that.
I'll just leave it. I've got it copied in my clipboard anyway, so I'll go and have a look. The little bit of music that played there sounded nice, so
okay,
I'm
cool.
keen to check that out.
Okay. Yeah, this is a little bit shorter than I usually go, but that's all I wanted was to debut that song and have Art here so we could talk about how we made it. And I'll be releasing it to the community, and so will Art.
Yes, that will be on my channel. So if anybody wants to go and check out altruistic artists, they can. The other thing is maybe the Humanist Australia website. I'm doing stuff on there. I have another one called The Humanist Guitarist, which is a new channel that I'm doing, and I'm doing a bunch of shorts and stuff. And it is kind of more guitar-based ideas in there as well. So I've got a few channels out there if anybody wants to check out. And also, Gigi, before we do go, I spoke to you privately about potentially coming on to it because I've got Humanist Australia doing live streams now. And we've done 2 and we're continuing on. I told them that I have some American friends, one being you, one being Aaron Lewis, that I would like to get on at some stage, which they said, yep, that sounds great. So we can get an American perspective on some things. So if you are interested, we could potentially do that reasonably soon.
Okay, sure. Yeah. The only things is I've got 2 conferences coming up. Next weekend, I'm going to be at ARC Protest. And
Right.
then 2 weeks from, not the following week, but the following week, I'm gonna be at NanoCon.
Okay.
So those weekends I'm tied up.
Right. No worries. I mean, I'll talk to you privately anyway, but it'd
Okay.
be lovely to get you on, and potentially, I guess, maybe you and Erin at the same time. We'll see, just
Sure.
on a panel to talk about some things. I was interested in talking about just the situation in America, to be honest, because it's so crazy over there at the moment, and there are protests happening and all of that sort of thing. I'm interested to speak to people, Americans that live in that country and are in the midst of all that's going on. Yeah, because it's crazy, crazy times.
It is, very much so.
But thanks for having me, Gigi. I really enjoyed it. I always
Thank you,
do
Brian,
enjoy
for
your
coming.
company. Yep, no worries. Thank you.
Live your life.